on the street.
Mike, do you know,
Clean
is
the
Chris
gutter.
planning to join us or not?
He's out of town, he's on
Chris is
vacation.
on vacation.
Remember I gave you some emails regarding sand on the street? So they put it stopped on, but they kept it in the gutters, opened the gutters, I mean the drainage. Said, no, it's just gonna stop the drain.
Because when they're done, I think they are done now, they're gonna go in and clean
Well, why not, when you clean the sand up, clean the gutter too?
different companies. Different companies, the guy's gonna clean the catch basin.
Okay, they are gonna clean it.
Well, yeah,
I mean, you got a lot of
that
sand.
was the agreement we got.
You got a lot of sand.
Terry Lilio's company was doing the resurfacing the road in the town center area, lots of roads.
So they
All right,
did that by
gonna-
accident, I assume.
Do you know if they're gonna?
No, it was on purpose.
In that one spot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they put almost
Because
a
they
word
didn't
truck.
want anybody
They didn't
tracking
want
the
tracking the-
tar all over the community.
That was the purpose of doing it.
Okay.
Actually, it's a good idea.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, but they didn't have to put it on Pelican Reserve Boulevard.
On top of what?
Well, they put it on the bricks that was going into it, and it just got carried with the car wheels.
Well, I don't think they asked us what they were gonna do, they just did it, as long as they said their thing.
There are other ways to do that, but they didn't. And that's, here we go.
Call the meeting to order.
Good.
We have present
It was a yay or nay.
committee members, John Grega, Ron DeFonte, Nancy Hall, Joe Schofield, Bob Geppert, and Phil Measy. I would ask that if you have anybody has a cell phone, that you would put it on some kind of a quiet mode. So we have a quorum. First item of business is the approval of the October minutes, and I have difficulty getting them to produce minutes, so we're always a month or two behind. So in any event, any changes, additions to the October minutes? If not, I will.
Make a motion, we accept?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Geppert to accept the minutes, and seconded by Mr. Grega. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously. Okay, next thing on the agenda is Kenny Hall from CDD staff, and we're all interested in what you got to say.
Thank you. My name is Kenny Hall. I'm the utility manager for the Gateway Service District, CDD. Just to give you a kind of a background on this, I try to get out to every HOA as possible that I can, to the HOA meetings, to meet with each individual HOA as I can. And I always try to pass on good information that I find to residents. And with Pelican Preserve, one of the things that we're really is it's a 55 and older community. So what happens is you got a lot of seasonal residents. And what we see is that, especially on the sewer side, people come, they stay for the winter months, and then they leave for the summer months, and they do not flush their sewer out before they leave. And what happens is you do this 3, 4, 5 years in a row, you start to get clogged up. And what will happen is that you'll call me, and it'll be at the worst time possible, the most inopportune time possible, and we'll have a sewer backup. And all I do is I go up and open up a manhole close to your house. If it's clear, we're good. I open up a clean out. If it's good, it's on your side. The problem is that a lot of the residents have no idea where their 4-inch clean out is. And what this turns into is a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 bill because they have no idea where this clean out is. And what happens is they have to hire a plumber to come in there, and he has to start digging around in your front yard trying to find that. And it eats up on the labor. And then they have to go in and clear the lines. I just try to press on the HOAs to get that information out to their residents, that each house has a clean out, and it's a 4-inch white cap. Know where that is, find it. If you don't know where it is, find it. It can turn into a complete disaster if they have to go digging around in your front yard trying to find it. I'd say that's one of the things I always try to impress on the HOAs is it's good information to get out to their residents, because when I get there, and they are always deep, which is another reason why the sewer bills get so high, is because you're sitting at 5, 6, 7 feet down where they have to go down and dig out that lateral. But what'll happen is that the residents will be there for the winter and they leave. Anything is in that line, it stays there. And as it dries out, because nobody's using it, it turns to cement. And it just builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then one year, boom, you get a blockage. And this turns into a very, very, very big bill. And one of the biggest things we see is that they have to go digging for this clean out. They have no idea where it is. Plumbers love it because they just eat it up on labor. So we just try to get that information out to the residents to spend some time out in the front yard to find that clean out.
Now, so Kenny, they both have to find the cleanout cap and then they have to do this annual,
Yes, before they leave, we always recommend that they run at least 50 to 100 gallons of water through the lines, just to push anything that's in your lateral lines. It'll just push it out of the way. You do not want to leave that, and it's a creeper. It'll take a couple of years, and we've seen it several times. I see it 2, 3, 4 times a month where this happens. And
Have you ever seen it in Pelican Preserve?
No, Pelican is relatively new. We haven't got, well, from my side of it, I know Pelican's been,
We've
but
been around
on the
15
GSD
years.
side,
yeah.
In the older section, so.
you hit into we get it in here all the time. And the thing of it is that that's what it is. It's usually always the seasonal.
Never heard it recommended, but it makes common sense.
It does
Kenny
make a
Kenny and I went
makes-
on a little tour, and I got to see the sewer pipes with a camera, which I wouldn't recommend on TV, but after I was with him, I sent in my little communicate that I send to Carina folks, I suggested they fill their bathtubs up and then drain them both at the same time while they're running water down the faucet to clean it out, because even though we were in Prado, those pipes were clean, there were still grease balls already starting to build up in that sewage line.
This would be
which
perfect for
absolutely
residential
shocked me.
lines to put out a memo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Joe, would you get to Carol Brocky?
I'll do that.
And whatever you put in your letter, have her broadcast that out to everybody.
I'll do that.
Although anybody heard of people?
No, I haven't heard of a problem.
That's why I
haven't
asked
either.
if you
Yeah.
heard.
And it's usually within the communities, and it's whenever it happens.
Portofino
it's-
has it. Bellagio
Yeah.
has it.
Within a 10-year community.
Yeah.
And it's taken time and time and time and time, and over a series of years, 4, 5, 6 years, it gets to a point where it's completely blocked.
We're some of the older communities in Pelican.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I asked. if
Yeah.
Me
it's
too,
happened.
yeah, because I haven't heard about
Yeah,
it.
We've been here 16 years.
And it's always a surprise, and then they have no idea where that pipe is,
Yeah.
where their
Well,
clean
that's
out
true.
is.
That's
And
true.
then, your plumber really appreciates that.
Yeah.
That they'll just, it's labor. They have to sit out there and dig around and try to find it.
Well, anyway, Joe, you get that.
I'll take care of it, yeah. I will say, I was surprised to see what he referred to as puff balls, and grease balls. The grease in those pipes seems to just puff up when the water keeps hitting it, but it collects, and there were several spots which restricted a little bit of flow.
Puffballs is a nice sanitary way to say it.
Well, I'll take care, I'll get something care.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but I really wanted to go over the irrigation. I'll give you everybody a copy of this. What this is a simple 2-week trend from our SCADA system. And
Our
what it showed.
system?
Excuse me.
Our what?
Our irrigation system, our SCADA system. Our
SCADA.
SCADA system that runs our pump house, runs all the wells. And what this trend represents is the demand. The numbers that you see, the waves, are demand, and that is in gallons per minute. On the scale to the far left, you see the 2,500, 5,000, 7,000. What these numbers represent are the peak demand. And you can see, I labeled the days where you can see we're having problems. 7,500 gallons, 8,000 gallons per minute is our maximum. That means that is the most I can push out at our pump house. We're getting very, very, very close to this number. And what is happening is on the days, as you can see, Saturday and Sunday, Wednesday and Thursday are watering days. So you see the trends climb real high. What the number below 5,000 is a straight line, that's the static pressure. That means how much pressure I'm delivering to you. When you turn your irrigation system on and it pops up, it's under pressure. My pressure is sitting at about 70 to 75 at any given time, which pressure is not the issue right now. Demand is the issue. And what we're doing, we're finding with these master meter communities is that they're not metered. We have, the biggest one we have is Danish Preserve right now, which is the 215 residents. We have 215 potable meters and 1 irrigation meter, meaning They are watering whenever, wherever, at any time. It's all over the place. And what happens, and what's happening is that the district just keeps growing. And as we add on more people, more demand, our demand goes up and our supply is gonna start buckling. So what we want to do, when you flip this over, is I'm going to spread the master meter communities, all the master meter communities, to new watering days. I wanna push everybody, odds, we'll just do odds and evens, just like we are now. But we're gonna push you, the master meter communities to Monday and Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday. So the master meter communities will be on 3 of the non-demand days, so you'll have optimum pressure, for when you're scheduled to water. Thursday, we're gonna spread that out in another way, but there will be no weekend watering.
Is
Under
anybody in
that.
Pelican on a meter?
Yes, Matarita. Matarita, that entire community is all individually metered.
Meter reader, meter reader.
And Prado, when it is completely done, will be the biggest master meter community we have. And Prado is what's really got my attention. Casella is master meter, but Prado will do more irrigation demand in a month than Casella will in a year. They
Right
just-
now, this is all total gateway, right?
Yes, this is all.
Is there any specific Pelican date? 'Cause I'm trying to understand what I ought to take away.
Wait, I'm sorry.
What is it that you want Pelican to do?
I'm going to shift, instead of the Tuesday, the Thursday, Friday, or the, excuse me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. Everybody gets 2 days to water, and those are everybody's days to water. I'm moving all the master meter communities, not just Pelican.
Okay.
Now, do all
So-
the individuals in these communities, they have the power over their own
Right.
irrigation, which is not true, right? In much
think
of
so.
Pelican Preserve.
In Pelican-
It's controlled, it's.
You have an individual connection.
Well, the
I was gonna
city-
get to that, but
The city connections are individual.
yes.
Yes, but we're not, people are not running their own irrigation, right?
It's running off of one, well, it's coming through one meter.
People in Pelican Preserve in a lot of communities, if they know the trick, can run their own.
I understand they
Yeah.
can, but in
But they-
general, they
as a
don't.
general rule, they don't.
General
No,
rule,
general
rule.
it's
They don't
controlled by
mess
our master irrigation system for the non,
Well-
CDD people,
Right,
right?
for the non-CDD.
Well, we're talking for the CDD.
I know you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for Prado,
Yeah.
Prado and Pistoia specifically.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that was the reason I asked the question. They have, they do their own irrigation. In other words, the people in those communities,
Matarita, they're individually metered.
but
Each
who
house is
controls,
They do.
who controls when the irrigation is done?
They do,
Huh?
the individual.
The individual homeowners, so that.
Whoever's paying the bill, put it that
Right,
way.
they're not on a system like ours where it's done by a master irrigation system.
Right. Our other issue is like Pelican Preserve Boulevard, Town Center. I mean, I don't know what the timing is of those watering
But
systems.
they're not part of
That's-
They're not part of it.
I know, but I'm
That's-
talking
that's a whole
within
different
Pelican
subject.
here,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
Old
yeah,
Pelican.
that's- Yeah, that's got nothing.
That-
That's
But it
this
could
issue
control, it could affect some, like, could affect Portofino, it could affect Bellagio, it could affect yours, if we're on at the same day that those are running.
No,
No, because
no.
we're in a
Independent
completely
source.
different, we're an independent system.
Oh, independent system.
We're in a completely
Like,
different
that's
system.
oranges we're talking about.
It's independent water sources.
This is
It's
the
an
CD.
independent water source, but it's still a volume of water going through certain pumps.
Not through
No,
mine.
no.
Not through mine. Mine's completely independent of anybody
Joe,
outside of the
you've
GSD.
got 2 different communities.
Guys, I know that, but wouldn't we have that same scenario if we looked at it through Pelican Preserve only? Not, forget Gateway.
Yeah, but I think what we're saying is, you don't have the same situation in Old Pelican, because individuals in general, they can do it. But in general, they're not controlling their own irrigation, it's controlled by the master irrigation
And that
system.
system may well below 2,500 with an 8,000 max, you just don't know.
Well, we don't even know what our max is.
That's what I'm saying, we don't know, because that's been a
Do
problem.
we want to find out? That's
We're
what I'm
gonna learn
asking.
an awful lot about our
Yeah,
irrigation
wait till
system. Yeah.
we get.
When the new system comes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wait till
it's
we
reclaimed-
get to the.
Reclaimed water thing.
Yeah, wait till we
That's
get
the
to
irrigation.
the reclaimed water discussion,
'Cause that's
a
for
little bit
irrigation.
later.
But go back to this, is there something that you want us to tell our residents other than the changing the dates?
Yes, we, along with changing the days, we are going to propose to the board, do their own ordinance, which will, allow them the authority to police this. Now, on the individual meters, say Matarita, I can tell when they're watering, what days, what time, how much, everything that, on the master meters, we're only gonna get a bulk number.
That's Matarita 2, right?
Well, the part of
Yeah.
Matarita that's on
Okay, I
the
think
gateway
that's
system, that's
Matarita
Matarita
too.
2, yes, I believe.
Half the ball.
And what's gonna happen is, as of now, what we have with Prado and Pistoia is they're building houses. So you get 30-day variances, where they're allowed to water for 30 days. What'll happen is there's going to be if you're watering outside of, one of the proposals would be if you're watering outside of the days you're not supposed to be watering, your 31 cents per thousand, which it is now, which is I believe the lowest in the county, is gonna go, much, much higher. So it's gonna get, they're gonna, policing it through, the billing system, I would say is a,
But how would you police it if they're on a master meter? How would you know?
that's the trick. Now, once we get fully built out,
Yes.
with what we find with master meter communities is they police themselves. If you have one person watering and 10 people that are next to them, they're not watering, and they're all paying the same bill,
Yeah.
it will police itself. It will go, that will usually quickly resolve itself.
So Ken, let me get something straight. It's Prado and Pistoia that have a master meter.
Yes.
And it's Matarita 2 that each house has.
Individual meter, and Casella is master meter.
Master metered also.
Yes, there's 3 master
Oh,
meters,
okay,
and
so
then
the Casella.
But
175.
Casella, there's no individual homeowners, that's all condos, so.
Well, what we're seeing is that, the Prado especially, as of now, they're watering every day. And under a new ordinance, and if they change the policies, watering every day, when you're not supposed to be watering is going to have a significant impact on the bill.
When do you plan on making this change?
We would like to get everybody onto this schedule here, by February 1st.
Okay.
What's preventing you from just doing it?
Nothing. Well, everything from my side, we are not allowed, it's a private system. I'm not allowed to do anything with Prado's irrigation system. I go to the meter, and after that,
You want something from us to do it?
well, I would hope that if we go with this master meter plan, when we want to shift everybody off the high demand days, and they change the water rate, if you're watering every single day, 100,000 gallons, 53,000, 91,000 gallons a day, once it's built out, I mean, that's gonna be a significant bill.
I'm still missing. Do you want us to take action? Do you want us to tell you to do this?
No, I want to get all this information out to you all, and then I want to try to schedule to the changeover if everybody's on board with it. And then, the way we do it is we go to the first
Who's
meeting,
the everybody on board?
the HOA and the residents. Is there any significant landscapers?
Okay.
Okay, the first meeting is this one, the next meeting I'll come back to, and everybody, okay, this is what we're gonna do. What we've been doing with the master meter communities, and it's worked really well, is we hire the landscaper. Meaning the HOA, and they'll go to every single residence and every single timer and set them.
Okay, the next step then is to have HOA meetings set up.
And right now, though, Casella, Prado, and Pistoia,
Don't
their
have
HOAs are still WCI controlled.
Yes.
So we still should have meetings with all.
But we
these
still have
HOAs.
plenty of residents in there that we can switch over, because what's I think is happening is they're going under the 30-day water schedule for the new sod, and it's not being changed. And it's just.
The next step is to have meetings with the HOAs to explain this, correct?
Yes.
Are you gonna do that, or do you want us to set up?
As far as I know, they don't have any HOAs in Prado.
We can,
When we met-
we can
Lennar.
contact
Lennar.
the gal that's there. She's the
Still, Lennar's
president of
gonna
each one of
control
those
it.
HOAs.
Jill Busbill.
Yeah, Jill Busman is running,
She's
she's the acting president for each one of
No,
those.
she's the
HOAs.
property manager.
Okay,
David
property-
Caldwell is the
okay,
president.
Thank you. I knew I'd get my terms messed up, but Jill's the girl who,
She's the council management
She's-
representative who manages
so
those
she will be working
communities.
with the residents in that community, and do they each have an HOA, but Lennar is still in control of it, or do they have a group?
Prado and Pistoia is one HOA. It is the Prado Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
411 units at build-out. Currently a 3-person Lennar board, of which David Caldwell is the president.
Okay, so the
And the
board
other two
is-
members are Lennar people too?
That is correct.
So that's who needs to be notified of the change.
Yes.
And we also would say we have 159 residents in Prado right now.
Well, the
Oh,
other thing I
That
would.
should come from him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this should be immaterial.
That has to come from you, I don't think,
It's gotta come from the district to
right.
Lennar.
The other
Yes.
suggestion I have is that, somebody talk to Carol, because
I
Carol
did,
sometimes.
we met with Carol last week.
Carol Brogan?
Carol Brogan.
Yes.
Okay.
Carol and a representative from Pareto came with her. And
Good.
we sat down for about an hour and went over all
Good, good,
this.
good.
And another
What's the
thing,
Matarita guys? Is that still Lennar run, Matarita?
No, I think Matarita too
There's
has
one
their own.
Matarita community that's still with Lennar. It's the only one left.
What is it?
So you have two Matarita associations, Matarita and Matarita Two, both of those are turned over. Jerry Friedman is the president of Matarita Two, Dia runs.
Different turnovers. There's still a Matarita community where we haven't turned over the district's responsibility for the ponds and wetlands and some other things.
Yeah.
That's the only community hasn't
Yeah, but
completely
it's,
turned
but
over.
as far as this discussion.
HOAs.
This
Or
discussion,
discussion.
it's been
Okay.
turned, it's been turned
They're
over.
turned over.
Yeah.
They've both
Right.
been turned over.
Who's that, Jerry, who?
Jerry Friedman is the president of Matarita Two.
Yeah, he's the guy that needs to be,
All-
Matarita One, I think is still on.
In Matarita Two, all of the homes, except for 17 of them, are on the GSCDD water individual metered. 17 of those homes in Matarita Two are still on the master association just because of where the utility line is. 17 homes in Matarita Two are on the Toro master system like all of you are.
So they get Fort Myers.
Correct.
What is from.
Yes.
And
Will it stay that way?
It's gonna stay that way because just where they're located.
This is-
Would you recommend that he go to a president's meeting and present this
No.
to?
HOA.
Huh?
Gotta
No,
be
it's the
Lennar.
individual
lot of-
HOA, because it doesn't impact.
Informationally, John, but that's all.
Yeah, it doesn't impact the rest of the
Yeah,
associations.
right.
It really does not. But you'll be putting out the information, Kenny, is that it?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. This is just an information
This is
exchange. We didn't have to take action.
Yeah,
I thought we
that's
had to do something.
Yeah, okay, you're just informing us.
Yes. Great.
Well, we thank you for doing that. We
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Financial and budget update, I guess is not going to occur since Nancy is not here, Nancy Olson. So we'll skip that item. And we're on to association manager reports. In Securitas. Scott? you wanna-
Hello, good afternoon.
Introduce-
Scott Charnock, Castle Management. We have met with Securitas here, so I don't tie him up too long this afternoon. If he could start off the report, if that's okay with all of you.
That is fine.
Right.
Matt?
Hey guys, I'm Nancy. It's Matt Travis from Securitas here. How are you guys today?
All right.
Good.
Many of you I saw this morning, so I'll try not to do 100% repeat and throw some new information at you. But you guys know post orders were something that we were working on. We've seen some action in that where we got response back from the lawyer of the edits that he wants done. So we
Tony
have,
Pierce,
yep,
for the record.
we have those in hand, and I have those with me. It's very reasonable, the things that he wants done. Looks like it should be easy action for us to get those finalized. It should be done before the end or middle of next week.
So, once they're done and you give them to me, I'll forward those to Tony and put it in his court, whether he needs to send those to the supervisors
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
And I'll get some response hopefully from him, as far as that's concerned.
Okay.
Yep.
Good job.
So next week, there'll be an email, a PDF that goes to you, Ron, and to Scott,
Yeah.
and we'll get them published out in the Gatehouse also. So that's the master copy. It's a 65-page document, a nice long document, tons of stuff, more than the normal staff member can understand on a recall basis. So we're also moving to a short version for the team to have. That's your daily, day-to-day operations content. So you can see it's a much significant difference. And this would be the stuff that we work with the officers on to have like daily recall of the information in here so that they can be always working on that. This then will be published. This is a Securitas-specific document. So there was some conversation, as I mentioned this in the President's Council this morning, about, hey, something about barcodes or this and that. One of the things that I just wanted to throw out there is this is a tool for the officers. So we're going to put it out, I'll give it to Scott, for Scott to put out to the community so the community understands. And if there are questions then that come up about it, of why isn't there more detail about specific topics, remember what it is, it's a tool for the officers. So The officers aren't involved in barcode distribution, as an example. So the only instruction in here, as a tool for the officers to use, is to direct barcodes to Castle Group, right? So, but that came up this morning as to, hey, maybe you should put more information in there, and the reason we don't is because what it is a tool for the officers.
I think it's important that we get this document out to the community so they are aware of what the officers are being told to do.
Sure.
And what their instructions are, so that they understand. I think that's important, so I think this'll be good.
Yeah, I agree.
Who will get that out, Phil? Carol or?
Scott.
I'll take care of it.
Oh, okay.
Scott
Yeah.
and Grace will get that.
Yeah,
out.
once everything's been signed off on and approved,
Then-
I'll send it out in an email blast and we'll post it on the website.
Okay.
This morning I passed out some information about transactions for passes and scanned passes over the course of the year. Was anybody not there this morning that wants to get a copy of that?
Yes.
A lot of people. I have a copy.
Thank you.
Thank
So what is this telling us?
I'll go back to the microphone. So this is just a year in review for 2018, and the data on there is not barcode reads of residents coming in, but what that is that's passes printed and or scanned by the officer at the gatehouse, right? So this is your traffic volume through the visitors lane for the different months. Make sense? So some of what I look at when I see theirs, I see that January, February, March, 10 and 11,000, and we see that number jumping up already in October of this year. So maybe that's the officers having more vigilance at doing their job. Maybe that's a factor of the build-out of having higher volume of people. But it is something that when I look at it statistically and we think about the future and manpower, one of the conversations we had last time was when do we start that second officer at the gate? And the budget called for January 1, right? For I think a 3 or 4 month period. But if we look at the data, clearly in October of this year, we were running the same volume statistically that they were running in January. So we look at it for future years and say, hey, what are the right months?
When you say passes, are these contractor passes, or are they just visiting a home?
Any pass, that's an any pass, so that's a vehicle in the resident, or in the guest visitor lane that the officer has to engage with.
Which could mean that during build-out now, you have a lot of contractors coming in.
Yeah, that's a good point, and there is the construction gate in the back that,
Yeah,
That-
but you
that
still
should have
have
some of
a
those
lot of
volume.
people coming in, having to do with various things from a contractor.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
not in
the
the thousands.
the roofing companies that come through, the pool service companies that come through, all those, the pest control, those are still not ever gonna go through the construction gate.
That is
They're gonna
correct.
continually just run
That is
run
correct.
through. So do some of the construction vehicles maybe slip through the front? Sure, but I would hope that that's a lower volume and that the majority of the contractors that we see are the regular service.
Okay, so these passes are visitors to homes. For example, my sister has a pass to come in, a
Anyone that-
monthly pass.
Yeah, if they have that pass in hand and we reach out and scan it with the scanner, that counts as a tick on this.
Okay.
It's people who have to come through the visitor gate.
Right.
They can't.
For whatever reason.
For whatever
Yeah.
reason.
And don't have barcodes.
And don't have a barcode.
Yeah. So I wanted you guys to see that statistic because I was looking at
That's
year.
workload for the guy at the
Yeah, I
gate.
know. I'm
He
just
has to
saying.
physically do something,
Yeah.
whatever that might be.
So I wanted you to see that volume. One of the topics that we talked about last time was about the patrol. And you guys said, hey, come back with what are some of the top things that patrol officers do. So I surveyed the group and got some feedback there. The top 3 things that they report to me are their action items, are phone calls that come to the gatehouse and then get reported to patrol around unsafe driving, where a resident calls and says, hey, I just saw this on my road, can you come check it out? Unsafe driving, noise complaints, and suspicious activity, whether it be a car parked where they don't understand why it's there, or a person that they saw walking that didn't look right, or those types of things are the things that take, the patrol officer has their responsibility of the 27 checkpoints and the vision software, and they're going around and hitting their checkpoints. And the things that pull them away from that most frequently are calls from the gatehouse where a resident has called and said, hey, check on this for me. And it was those 3 top topics.
Is there any record of what they found? You know, if they get a call, suspicious activity.
Yeah,
Do they have to provide a response to that? I went and checked and saw nothing, or it ended up being a resident walking around or
So
whatever?
there is the option in the vision software that we use to write an incident report. Typically, the officers are only writing incident reports when it comes of something. So most of the noise complaints, most of the suspicious activity, they go to the area, can't find it. But, so they're visibly seen in the community, and maybe that quiets things down, but they'll get a noise complaint. One came up 2 weeks ago or so around a noise at a construction site.
Somebody's got
That a
the
neighbor was
boom
saying,
box
hey, there's
going.
too much loud noise coming from this construction site. Our guys went to it. It wasn't, they couldn't identify it. Maybe those laborers had left at that point, it had been 20 minutes since the call came, et cetera. But they don't have anything, so they don't do incident reports. So when there is something that they have to report, then they'll do it. If they get a call, respond to it, and can't come up with any data to create a report, they don't.
How
That's the
many
current.
incident reports are there approximately per month?
Yeah, not a high volume.
On what, 1, 2, 3?
Incident reports, I would probably say 10 or less.
Less
Way
than,
less than that.
Yeah.
less than 5 a month right now.
Okay.
Okay.
But that'll change in January, I'm sure.
Huh.
All the renters will be here.
So-
All the
Party
regulars.
time.
So those were the things that I wanted to share with you guys today. There was something I brought up in
Yes.
the president's meeting this morning, and I think it's a topic for me to share with you guys, just so you have the information. One of the features available in the visitor management system, Dwelling Live, is an option for voicemail recognition. Right now, what happens is when a homeowner wants to call the gatehouse, if they call the gatehouse and the officer doesn't pick up, they leave a message, just like you or my voicemail, and the officer then, when they're done with the line, has to then go retrieve the message and take action on that message, recording the information into the visitor software, saying, so-and-so's having a guest, that, and they type it in. A feature that's available in Dwelling Live is that when the phone rings and is recognized the caller ID to a number that's in a profile for a resident, that voicemail will automatically be loaded into Dwelling Live as a recording. So that when the guest comes up, Jackson Pools comes up, and they say, I'm going to whatever address, they type in the address and they will see that there's an audio recording for a voicemail. They click on it, and it's the homeowner saying, Jackson Pools is coming by today. So it avoids then that thing of, okay, my line is clear, I got red light blinking over there, I got red lights back, lines here, back and forth, and not ever getting timely action on voicemails.
So when is this gonna be?
Well, no,
It's-
we gotta
it's-
decide,
that's-
we gotta
it's
wanna buy it.
information only. I'm
What
being
is it?
told-
So how much does it cost?
$150 a month is what I'm being told. It comes up less than that. Because I was asking the question just because I noticed in the gatehouse, I'm like, man, we got a lot of voicemails, and they were like, yeah, we got to answer. We don't have it turned on here, and they're like, nope, we don't have it turned on. So I've been told that this was brought up to you guys once before. I'm just throwing it out. Maybe when Dwelling Live was originally introduced in the package of what pricing, I don't know.
I don't think any of us remember it.
Sure.
I
And it-
Yeah, I know,
I
I know.
don't.
I don't think any of us remember that. And Matt mentioned it this morning. I think, one of the problems we have is clearing people through that gate.
Right.
And I think and there are an awful lot of people in this community that aren't going on Dwelling Live. Some of them don't have computers, be what it may,
Yeah.
they're not using it. I think for $150 a month to cut down on the rush that those officers do, and particularly during rush hours that they have.
I agree.
I think it's well
Absolutely.
worth our money.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a
Let's
motion
approve
that
it.
we approve this.
Okay.
Approved. Yes, I'll second it.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None
There you
opposed?
go.
Great.
Go do it.
That's
Do it,
easy.
do it.
So I'll email Scott an addendum to the visitor management. Scott can sign off on it for the community. That's good for you guys. And how does that normally work?
Actually, Scott.
I don't sign anything, but I'll get the proper
He'll get
signatures.
the proper signature.
Scott will help me get a signature and we'll get it moving.
I'll get the proper
Yeah,
signature.
okay, that's very good.
That was really all I had for the
Okay.
board today.
I have a question
Sure.
on the trap gate. Once in a while, the second trap gate is open.
Yeah.
Now, I assume you do that to help volume. Is there a reason for that, or is it broken?
I do not believe it's broken.
It is not broken, it works. What may have happened, and it has happened before, that when you have a commercial vehicle go through that cannot go under the porte-cochere, sometimes the guard is remiss at flipping the switch to put the gate back down.
All right.
That's happened before, because you have to manually put the gates up to allow the large trucks through.
Okay, which is fine.
Yeah.
Could that ever come back down on a car trying to exit when he thinks it's up?
No, because it's gonna break the sensor.
Okay.
So, but we gotta get our owners used to using that trap gate again, that's been a challenge.
All right, the other question I have regarding the gate, during the week, there are certain times where we've said the exit gate should always be up. I've seen it up, and then all of a sudden, sometimes it's been down
During the hours?
during the hours that it's supposed to be up. Is there
So-
a reason for that?
No, there's no reason for that, except the only reason they're up is they're up Monday through Friday. On weekends, they're always down.
Correct, but I've seen it come down during the hours it's supposed to be up.
Then that was human error,
Okay.
so,
Could that ever hit a car?
no.
Same-
Because
same
once you're in
principle.
that gate plane, it's not gonna come down on your vehicle.
Okay.
Unless you're driving 55 miles an hour out of the gates.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there a problem?
no, there's no problem if you do
If you
it.
do
So,
60, you'll be fine.
We want them to come down on the 55-mile-an-hour guys.
You know, and
Okay.
that's the whole thing, when human error occurs, it's because they're getting distracted elsewhere, and I know that, being up at that front gate.
That's fine, as long as there's
Yeah.
no possibility of it hurting a car.
No, the only time that we've had issues with it coming down on a car was user error. The owners aren't paying attention to the traffic flow, and when it says stop here, it means stop here. Don't go up and, tailgate the gate, because then you trigger the gate, and then the whole trap gate system has to reset itself.
I've been in a line with a person.
Yeah, and they, just read the sign and be patient, or you have to wait another
The trap
35
gate works
seconds.
great. I mean, the timing
Yeah.
on it really is not
Yeah.
that bad.
No, it's getting very good.
It really is.
It's just not being familiar with entering the community.
Okay. Any further questions of Matt?
I have one question. And it's just something that's been brought up by some residents in general conversation. The exit gate, when it's down, during the hours it's supposed to be down, have we got any idea of the incident of that gate being hit? I haven't seen it damaged recently, but people seem to be still concerned about, and somebody brought up a suggestion, and I would agree. I've come through there just at the right time of day when it's been down on a weekend, and you can't see it where the sun is. Just for some reason, you just can't see it, and I know it's there. But somebody suggested, can we put some streamers on it? That would kind of flap and it would make it bigger.
You got lights on it?
But you can't see the lights at a certain time. The lights just don't reflect at a certain time of dusk. I couldn't explain why, but I've experienced it myself. But I'm cautious because I know what I'm getting into. I'm aware of it. But just a question, because I've been asked that by
It
some
looked like
residents.
Lehigh Acres. That'd be ugly.
I
Accurate.
do not get that feedback.
Okay.
I really don't. And
Yeah, if we're not getting a lot of
the
problems.
only feedback that I get is the trap gate, but that's just a learning
Trap
curve.
gate that gets hit.
Yeah.
more than the-
It's been mentioned before, but, we'll have to work
Just
with it.
tell them they have to be better prepared.
Yep.
Remember it's there.
The only thing that would make sense as an option, I would think, considering the aesthetics of the community, would be the hours. If you know the problem is at sunset, then change the hours.
Don't let
And
anybody
don't-
out.
And don't let the gate, don't put the gate down until post sunset, you know.
Well, I think that bears some consideration. Right now, it goes down to 5 o'clock, and personally, I think maybe if it went down, once it was dark, that would be maybe a better process than having it shut at 5 o'clock, because I always think people are leaving to go out to eat and do things in the evening, and now they're stuck. Although I've never been stuck there.
So I'm not,
I've never been stuck.
I'm not proposing that, but I'm saying from an aesthetics standpoint,
Well, we have 2
That would
gates
be-
worked out. There shouldn't be a problem.
My suggestion is this, first, in your newsletter, let's remind people, I know we've reminded them, but remind them again about this. If we have a continuing problem, you may want to come up with some kind of a recommendation of something we can do. But at this point, I think we're okay where we are.
Yeah.
Any other questions of Matt? Thank you, Matt.
it's my
Appreciate
pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right. I am
You got an introduction.
broker.
You got a button speed trap coming.
All right. All right. I know you have one document in front of you from Metro Concrete and Construction. I'd like to cover that one first. Basically, it's to take care of sidewalk issues within several areas, replacement of 10 sections. Comes out to about $370 per section. The prices have been between $340 and $570 when you're replacing street sections. Our challenge has always been finding a vendor to do it. So this vendor has committed he would do it, and he has the crew to do it. So I'd recommend continuing our project with grinding the sidewalks and the replacement of the sidewalks in these neighborhoods that need them. There's another line. So anyway, the sidewalk replacement's $3,700. That's at the bottom, that's where I started.
Okay, so that's basically Bella Vista,
Yes, and a few others, yes.
and a few others, okay.
And then there's several areas throughout the community will be grinding.
Okay.
Does that 3,700 includes the grinding?
No, the grinding is at the very top, that's $50
Oh,
per
that's the-
location.
Okay, all right,
So that's probably gonna be another $500.
okay.
The bridge columns,
Bridge column.
one of our bridges in Old Pelican has a stone facade on the columns. Well, when they were installed probably 6-8 years ago, the common practice was use thin set to attach the pieces of stone to the columns. Well, thin set doesn't hold long term. So now they use a mixture of thin set and adhesive. This is to remove the stones because we now have stones falling off the individual pillars, falling onto the sidewalk. So this is just to take care of that problem for our residents that causes safety issues and aesthetically put those columns back the way they were originally built. So that's the price that you see for $57.60, and that's the labor. That's 4 men, 8 hours a day for 4 days. That's a lot of work, and if you've been out there by Phil's house, crossing over the bridge into his community, you'll see how much stonework there is on that bridge. Thankfully, we only have one bridge like that.
So I think that those guys should pay for it.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, I'll let Phil bring that
You're
up.
well afforded.
That's
what I mean.
Exactly. I will tell you that I was the one who reported this and requested it.
So more,
I will-
all the more
I
reason
will
for you to pay
recu-
for
I
it.
will recuse myself from any decisions that the committee makes with regard to this effort.
I recommend that we continue to replace their stone.
No problem.
I have a question, Scott,
Yes.
will they take all the stone off and?
Yes.
Good, okay, yeah, I would support
Scott,
that.
when you say that the adhesive they're using, what they should use is an epoxy adhesive.
Yes,
Is that what you said the second
Yes.
one is what it is?
yes.
Yeah, to put it on with a cement adhesive
No.
on it stuff is
No,
not
it's
the
a-
way you would
it is
start.
it has the consistency of thin set, but
Well, it
it's an
does, it's called a
epoxy
thin set
adhesive.
epoxy.
Yes,
Right,
Yes.
so resin rather than
Yes.
cement.
correct.
Scott, I have a question on the sidewalk replacements.
Yes,
When they dig it up, if there are tree roots in the way or underneath it, are they gonna remove the tree
Yes.
roots? Okay, so that price includes that,
yes.
okay.
And then the next time, it's gonna cost me more when they find out how much work there is to do under there, like the last company did.
Yeah, they did a good job of removing those roots.
Yeah. So they'll do a good job. I'm confident of that, but they do know that they're gonna be cutting some roots.
Are all the concrete repairs due to root damage?
Some are just settling,
Okay.
you know. In Florida, because we don't have really a good quality base soil, you have a lot of movement with concrete, so you're gonna get cracks and problems, but, you know, our worst problems are from the trees.
Okay.
Yes.
Where's the sewer pump station, where is that?
That is right on the right-hand side before you hit Cypress Grove on the left.
Just before, it's just before Bellagio.
Correct.
Right,
It's
that's where
all-
that's where you
yeah,
see all the
it's
junk.
all
You said
torn
Cypress
up.
Grove.
It's almost right across from
Okay,
the pond.
the one that they've been working on for the last 6 months.
Yes, and a
Okay.
lot of our lift stations have a concrete path going into the lift station. For whatever reason, this was an older one, it was never put in. But that's a low-lying area, and if we're going to do it right and get rid of that mud area with the tire tracks, the only way to do that is put in a concrete slab.
All right, so you're taking a concrete slab to go out to the street, basically?
Yes.
So the repair trucks can get in there?
Yes,
As far as you know, are they done working there?
no,
Okay, so.
They'll never be done.
don't.
Well, 'cause
They
it
always
seems like
require
every-
maintenance, so when they pull in when they pull in those larger trucks, and that's why it costs a little bit more, it's a 6-inch pad instead of a 4-inch pad, which is standard, to handle the commercial trucks.
Okay,
But they visit the lift stations almost every other week.
well, there's always, they were out there with a crane.
Yeah.
like
They had
a
a
week or
hole
so
in the
ago.
pump, and they had to replace the whole thing. They had a motor problem, and then they found they had a pump problem. They ended up replacing the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's typical of lift stations.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need a motion or anything for this?
Well, yeah,
Oh.
the question I have in my mind here is,
See, it's over 10,000.
oh, it's well over 10,000, and we have to, but I don't know whether we've provided for it in the budget or not. I'm sorry Nancy isn't here.
You do have money for repairs on streets. Now, what I could do, if it makes better sense, is I'll separate the sewer pump station, the lift station, from this proposal, have them put it on a separate proposal,
Mhm.
and that way you fall under the $10,000.
As long as the other part is in the budget already.
There's
Yes.
sidewalk
That's
repair
fine.
money in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
there is
It's sidewalk and
That's fine.
street repair,
Yeah.
so this sewer lift station would fall under sidewalk and street repair.
Mhm. Mhm. But now we're saying that the grinding is gonna be about another $500. It's not shown here, is that right?
No,
And then there'll be some material for the bridge column repairs if we're gonna do that?
yes.
Mhm.
But again, I can separate this out for you, so we don't have to go through the next level if you wish.
Yeah, we don't want to circumvent the rules, but as
That's right.
long as stuff belongs in the budget, it's there,
Yes,
that's fine. Stuff
Yeah.
that doesn't belong in the budget, new item, as long as they're separate, that's fine.
All right, can we make a motion, though, that we accept these numbers and he can revise them
Well,
in such a way, rather than waiting another month?
well, no, my suggestion is that we don't have to, you know, we
You don't have to have the motion.
Huh?
You don't have to
Have to have the motion,
No.
it's in the budget.
if it's already there.
And the one place where we have to have the budget, where we have to have a motion, I think, is on the sewer repair, but that can then be approved by
Right.
by Chris.
yes.
So just make a motion, I'll make a motion that we approve the sewer pump repair station not to exceed $4,000.
Okay,
They make it as a separate item from
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
suspend the.
We have a second to Bob's motion?
Second.
Nancy seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously, and the other things?
The others will be handled within budget.
Yeah.
Thank you. The other item was left over. I noticed it wasn't in your packet, but you may recall that we spoke about the medjool palm as you enter Veneto,
Oh, right.
and whether we wanted to spend $6,200 on a medjool palm or replace it with a Sylvester palm for $2,500.
I didn't even miss that it was gone.
Most of us haven't.
Well, on my flag crew, I put the flags up on that, so I asked everybody on my crew, just casually, hey, you know, there's a palm tree that used to be here, what do you think about that? Oh, there was? I said, yeah, what would you think if we replaced it? Why? I'd say,
Let's ignore it until we get a complaint.
Yep.
Yeah, yep.
and then we'll ignore it again.
If it was in my car, I wouldn't spend $6,000.
Okay,
No.
Which you spent
Okay.
thank you. And the other item that wasn't on in your packet, doesn't need approval, we do have it in the budget, it is, we need to start replacing some of our faded traffic control signs. When you drive up and down either Cypress Grove, you're gonna see the bright red stop sign, and then you're gonna see a faded sign down below. We just wanna replace all the faded signs with new
Already
signs.
phasing on Cypress Grove?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
We have the money in the budget. for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
yes, you do.
Can we buy a more robust sign to begin with?
They are FDOT approved, they're reflective, they're the best signs on the market. But again, the sun and this weather, things just break down here.
Scott, how much money are we talking about? Do we know?
We're talking a total of 18 signs.
Wow.
With installation, it's $1,800, so it's $100 a sign.
Oh, that's a lot cheaper than I thought it
Yeah,
was.
me
I
too.
was
Some of-
expecting another zero.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
because some of these signs are, the
It's
new ones-
usually, it's the poles that cost all the money.
Is that the sign?
Yeah, the poles are like $700-800 a piece.
Yeah, yeah.
But the signs, they gotta break the welds, or they have to cut off the hardware and then reinstall them,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
All right.
So I
So
wanted to
you
let you know that,
Just gonna go do it.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
The bridges, unless I missed it when I was out. Our wooden bridges, where is that?
I will have you a breakdown of all 3 contractors that I was able to get out and give me a proposal. They're different. I'll explain those differences to you with the handout that I provide to you, but you'll get a look at it. We're looking at